Well, hello again, and welcome again to another reading. We're going through the book, Whither Bound or Heaven, and how to get there. So with that said, let us just get our article up here, and our article today is going to be Not Ready and Yet Gone, Unprepared. So with that said, let's just get our reading here. There's our article. Not ready and yet gone or unprepared. He that rejecteth me and receiveth not my words has one that judgeth him. The word that I have spoken, the same shall judge him in the last days. John 12, verse 48. How shall we escape if we neglect so great a salvation? Hebrews 2, verse 3. And it is appointed unto men once to die, but after this the judgment. Hebrews 9, verse 27. These are solemn words for the unsaved soul. Are you still unsaved, dear reader? If so, ponder them deeper and learn the depths and the following sad but too true narrative. It was a glorious morning, and all looked bright and fair, bathed in God's own sunlight, with nothing to betoken any rising storms of anguish and sorrow. And as a young Christian wended her way through late heart to the house of a business where she was engaged in the town, passing through to her astonished place, she gave a word of friendly morning greeting to one who was soon to leave them after many years' service to exchange business for a happy home of her own. And although she knew not, she was miserably poor and blind. A bright picture danced before her, and hopes were high. A little, perchance, sadness by the thoughts that at midday her friend and fancy husband was to bid her goodbye for a short time only, when they would meet once more, be made one, and separate no more. The parting as friends do part in this troublesome scene, without one thought of warning of the crushing sorrow looming at the distance. And so her friend left. A few hours rolled by, and the poor, who had thoughts all so bright and the future cloudless, was seized with the violent pain. On it came steadily and like a relentless foe to the crowd, and to the crowd, let me just start that up there. And a few hours rolled by, who had through the bright and further cloudness and seized with violent pain. On it came steadily, and like relentless foes, it is crowd and shrieked victims, till in agony she rushed to the young Christian before mentioning who was in the room alone. Brandy and restorative were applied, and lo, the agonizing pain, but the poor face, all scared and frightened and deadly, pale, flushed with a crimson hue, and turned her large dark eyes to the young Christian. She said, "Oh, I thought I was going to die." What kept the lips silent, which ought to have replied with not, but earnestly and lovingly, were entreated with dear saved ones, those who know and have found the love of God, be ready with the answer at any time and at any season. Let not Satan fear or a false timidity keep thee silent, and bringing a remorse which will end but with life. Not that we can of ourselves save a soul, nay, but we have not delivered our own soul if we are not faithful, and even and the question repeats itself when too late to be answered. But poor grew worse, and in a few hours agony breathed her last to meet with fear and the unknown God. This is sorrow our hearts mourn over, sorrow we would fain bury, but that it tells it to others, some dear unsaved one may read it in an uncertainty of life, and its faint prospect, and the brightest hope, while those who love the Lord may read a warning, and be spared the anguish of one who was not faithful. M.H.S. That completes the reading for today. But I was just thinking that the reason I put all these messages out here and all these warnings is the fact there's so many that are in this condition. In 1 minute they're alive, and the next minute they step off into eternity. And eternity is forever. And we need to warn those that are unsaved. We need to be prepared. And it says, just like the title, not ready and yet gone or unprepared. So ask yourself, are you prepared for eternity? If not, today is the day of salvation. Well, bye for now, and God bless.